The Get Rich Slow Club podcast is a collaboration between Tash Etchman from Tash Invest and Anna Christina from Perla. The Get Rich Slow Club acknowledges the traditional custodians of the land we record on. From coast to coast, across land, waters, and communities, we pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Any advice is general and does not consider your financial situation, needs, or objectives, so consider whether it's appropriate for you.
Welcome to the Get Rich Slow Club podcast,
where we take you from beginner to confident investor,
where we can teach you everything you need to know about investing.
So come get rich slow with us.
I am back with Emma from the Broke Generation.
Back again for more.
Amazing. And today we're going to talk about finding money to invest because life is getting a little bit more expensive. But first, money wins, money losses. What do you have?
Money wins. I, at the start of this year, tried to make a commitment to stop using takeaway delivery apps where possible. I can still get takeaway, I just got to go and pick it up because I find that it's cheaper that way and like the food is better because it hasn't been like driven around to 18 other stops.
Yeah, they're getting really bad with that. I feel like it takes so long to get here.
Yeah, and like you'll be in a restaurant and you'll see people like having their takeaway picked up and like it's not in the heat bag. Like I have total empathy on both sides of that. Like I get why the drivers just don't give a fuck anymore. Totally get it. But yeah, so I decided to stop using them because I knew that by extension I would get less takeaway because it's more effort to go and pick it up. And yeah, I did order something the other day because I was unwell, but I think I'd sort of made it about 4 months and I've really kind of broken the habit now. It was like the end of Jan. I had COVID and stuff in Jan, so I was really sick and I'd ordered a couple of things like, Powerade and all that stuff that you need when you're sick. And I was like, all right, I'm done with this.
Did you order like two apples and 2 things of tuna or something? I remember I sent you something and you're like, I just got apples and a thermometer.
Yes, because I thought I had like a fever of like 100 million. Yes. I did not. So that I kind of parked it after that. Been doing really well, broken the habit. Got it the first time the other day and was like, yeah, wow, I'm really like championing this decision.
Yeah.
And it saved me a lot of money.
Takeaway very often or do you just not bother anymore?
No, we've got, we have like an Indian restaurant that we like to go to and it's really wholesome because like it's like family owned. They send you like a personal text the next day.
Nice.
They do a discount if you're paying cash.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's really nice. And yeah, if you, rightfully so, their prices on Uber Eats like 30% higher because Uber Eats takes 30%. So when you drive there, pick it up, pay in cash, like you're usually getting 10% off the cheaper prices anyway. Yeah. And you're like supporting that business, which is really nice. So yeah, we get that a little bit, but other than that, no, we've been like, how much I love Every Plate.
Yes, yeah.
At Every Plate, we will get like some of their premium ones that do like the all-American cheeseburger or they have hot dogs or stuff or steak sometimes. And like instead of a takeaway on the weekends, we'll have like one of those. Yeah. Or we'll go out maybe.
Yes, out into the wild.
Less so because, cost of living, but yeah, we're just cooking at home way more now that we've like cut off that option to order something.
Yeah, I tried all of them, like HelloFresh, Every Plate, Dinnerly, and I found even Marley's Spoon. But I found just having new recipes made me more excited again. And now we've got like 80 recipes in a folder that we can use. Yeah. Just having those options has been really exciting.
Yeah, it's so good. Having variety without having to number crunch. Because that's often why people get takeaway, right? They go, oh, well, I could cook something, but if I go and get the ingredients for a mac and cheese, it'll be $80. Because for some reason it always is.
Yeah.
When you get a recipe and you're like, oh, I need all these things.
Yeah.
Whereas, when you're getting it Every Plate, like it's the set price every single week, but you get variety every single week. Yeah. You just don't get that at the supermarket.
And I found I've heard you speak about this as well, but not trying to be too healthy. Like I've been obsessed with bao buns recently, but we bought popcorn chicken bao buns and like all the different fillings for them.
Oh my God.
And it's so easy to whip up like 2 or 3 bao buns and it's pretty cheap doing it that way. Because you can buy like a kilo of chicken bite things for like $10 or something. Amazing.
Bit of like Kewpie mayo.
Oh yes, so much Kewpie mayo. I got so many miniature ones when I went to Japan.
I want those for work.
Oh, I'll have to bring you one.
Yeah.
I think I've still got a few.
Yay.
So exciting. Yeah, but just like not trying to be really healthy and being like, I can just like make my popcorn chicken bao at home and everything as well.
What's your win?
I ordered a dress online because I have lots of book tours coming up, so I justified needing a new dress. But I signed up with a new email to get 10% off and I also used Shopback and got 18% cash back.
Woo!
So that was a win.
That's a huge win.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yay. Well, that kind of leads into our episode for today.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about finding the money to invest. And there's 2 ways that you can do that. You can either increase your income or decrease your expenses. Do you want to start with expenses or income? What's more exciting?
I feel like expenses is the intuitive place to start because it's I don't want to say it's easier than increasing income. It's a bit more immediate than increasing your income.
It's more simple initially, I guess. Like you can kind of like not buy a coffee, or you can call someone and that's kind of done, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, ideally you want to be doing a bit of both, right? Yeah.
There's only so much you can decrease your expenses though, but what are some of your favorite ways to try and cut back?
Well, my favorite ways I think to try and cut back are to do like a big sweep, get really clear on where your money is going. We always overestimate how much we know about our finances, even people that are naturally good with money or have been working on getting good with money like me.
Yeah, so I've found this recently. When I did my Bali video about how much I spent in Bali, I was like, oh, it's not that much. And then it ended up being $1,000, which is still good for like flights, hotel, all the stuff I did. But in my mind, I didn't think I spent that much at all.
Yeah. So I think that's like the best place to start. Yes, I'm not taking away from the fact that some people will have already done this and they'll know that there's no fat to trim. But for lots of us, varying degrees of how aware you are of your numbers. If you're not that aware, then there'll be probably lots of opportunities to cut out money leaks. But one of my favorite kind of places to start is look at the amount of times you're popping into the grocery store.
Yes.
This is always such a big one for people. Everybody, and again, if your immediate instinct was like, no, I go once a week, still check. I might be wrong and I'm willing to be wrong. But go back through, like estimate the number of times you go grocery shopping. So if you do a weekly shop, you're going to go 4 or 5 times a month. Then go through your bank statement and see how many times you have gone into a Coles or a Woolies or a Coles Express or an IGA or even done a milk run order. We all love a bit of milk run
when
if
you
live
fill
in the
up
city.
as well and you're like, oh, there's things to buy. Milk's special at the fuel station.
Yes. Look how many times you've been. And often people find that they're doing 2 or 3, not even necessarily conscious top-up shops, because a lot of people like, if they eat a lot of fresh produce, they've got kids, they like to do a top-up shop that's conscious. But often you'll pop in for a battery, or I used to do this on my way through the train station, pop into Coles Express for like tuna and rice. And maybe doing that would be fine, but is it just tuna and rice?
It's the salads and the yogurts. The Chobani yogurts are on special that I don't need.
Yes, nobody spends money more recklessly than me when I'm in the supermarket outside of my weekly shop.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've just passed go and collected $200.
Yeah.
Like Magnums in the weekly shop, $11.50? Absolutely not. No. Magnums, when that's all I'm buying, take my money.
Yes, perfect.
Because $11.50 is a lot more palatable when your total is $11.50.
Yeah, or $20 because you've got the tuna too. Yeah.
$11.50 when it adds on to your budget of $100 is like, well, no, that's over budget, it won't fit.
Yeah.
It's like a totally different mind thing.
Yeah, it seems small and insignificant, but it does really add up.
It does. So yeah, if you're spending even $20, $30, $40 extra a week, like if you're popping into the supermarket, you grab a few things now and it's $30. If you're doing that once a week and you stop doing that, there's your money to invest.
Yeah. Yes.
To start, if you're not investing currently or you want to be investing more, there it is.
And like we were saying with the groceries beforehand as well, I found planning out like the bao bun dinners and getting 3 dinners out of like one kind of shop with things is so much cheaper than buying that and then buying stuff for pasta and then buying stuff for like a fried rice as well. And then I ended up throwing things out because they go off, which isn't ideal.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if anybody else has made this mistake. So many times we have periods in our lives when we've done this, my husband and I, we plan our meals. We've always planned what our meals are. But then we get into this weird phase. I think it's when we have a busy period where we might be out when it's someone's birthday or, some stuff's on or there's a wedding or whatever. And then we start doing this thing where we plan our meals Monday to Thursday. And then we go, oh, we don't know what we'll be doing on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or, oh, we're out that day. And then we might be going out for dinner with them. So we don't plan a meal. Okay. And then if you don't go out for dinner because it's cancelled or the plans never come off or someone's sick, nothing's prepared. So then you go, oh, well, we'll go anyway.
Yes.
And then you go again with the people you were meant to go with. Or it might be, often we go around for a family dinner to my in-laws' place. So we kind of 1 meal a week or 1 meal a fortnight or whatever we expect to be with them. But then if they're away or we don't do it or whatever happens, then you're like, oh, we've got no food. Yeah.
You always kind of need like one backup easy thing in your cupboard that you can always make.
Yeah, that's why I like to have always like certain things in the house that I can put together.
Yeah, fried rice is such a good one because veggies are frozen. I know people hate this, but you can get rice in a packet and microwave it and it's just so easy to put together.
Yeah, and it's going to save you a lot of money. And me being me, I have to mention like that there's such a mindset piece of this as well. Like you can go, oh yeah, I've got pasta and sauce. So if I haven't got anything to eat, I'm going to have pasta and sauce. There's 2 very different versions of yourself that make the decision to do that on the Monday and that actually do it on the Friday. It is hard. Like it's so privileged, but on a Friday night when you're sitting down to watch your little movie or the football, it is so hard to to not order food and make the dumplings at home instead. I'm sorry, it is. Like, it is hard.
And when I like shop on Monday, I don't want that thing on Friday.
Yeah.
Once I bought it, I'm like, oh, I can't think of anything worse.
Yeah.
I think it's just such a mental thing as well.
Such a mental thing.
Usually I like that.
But I think that's why it's so good to like not try and have something healthy. Because often when we plan meals, we automatically, especially women, automatically go, right, okay, there's my 7 meals and they were really healthy.
Yeah, here's my salads.
Yeah.
It's gone a bit slimy in the fridge.
Have something filthy available.
Have your burgers.
Yeah, it's going to make it so much easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how much I liked sweet potato fries. But it's such an easy snack. Just like cutting up a whole sweet potato and then frying it in the air fryer and you've got like a nice snack. And then started putting like chicken on top to make loads of fries. So easy.
Yeah, I'm having a weird resistance to sweet potato at the moment. Don't know why. I think it's just because I've been in a love affair with white potato.
Okay.
That I'm like, ugh.
No, not the healthy one. I want the unhealthy.
But then it can be really delicious.
Yes.
Yeah. What are your favourite ways?
Well, I heard you speak about a different way of budgeting, which I quite liked, where you focus on cutting out one thing each week rather than cutting out everything. Because I feel like I kind of do the all or nothing approach, which doesn't really work, where it's like, I'm saving money now and that's it and I'm not spending on anything. But then the next week I'm like, oh, cool. Well, now I'm going away for work and I'm doing all this other stuff. So I'll get Uber Eats too. And it's hard to balance that. But I quite liked that when you were saying you can just cut out one thing every week.
Yeah, rotate stuff out, or even like each month do ins and outs. Like it's really hard, in an ideal world when the cost of living crisis wasn't so bad and inflation wasn't so bad, or maybe you had more disposable income and your mortgage hadn't gone up, maybe you would do Pilates and you would have brunch with your friend on a Saturday and you would get takeaway a couple times a week and you might get your nails done. Whereas now, I think that economic pressure and like the real pressure you're feeling, like the surrounding atmospheric pressure and then your own numbers can make you feel like, well, I can't have anything that I enjoy because everything's got to go. Whereas it's like, well, maybe break it down and what do those things all cost? Could you get your nails done one month but not do the brunch at home?
Yeah.
But then the next month go, actually, don't need my nails on this month. I'll go out for the, rotating stuff around like ins and outs. There's that ins and outs trend on social media a while ago, or 2024 ins and outs, like do your monthly ins and outs. My other one that I like is, I used to call it financial fasting, like kind of intermittent fasting for your finances, where like everyone's like, what do you mean? We don't eat.
Yes.
No.
Please eat.
I more mean that like, say there's 4 weeks on average in a month, 4.5 weeks. If just for one of them, you're like the most frugal bitch you've ever met, and you even right down to the groceries you buy like home brand pasta and sauce or instant noodles or, cheese sandwiches for lunch or like steamed broccoli and a chicken breast or something for like, keep it super, super lean just for 1 week of the month. Because say you spend $150 a week on groceries, which a lot of people do. If just 1 week you challenged yourself to spend $50 and you ate like ridiculous stuff, but then every other week you did everything as normal, or if you socialize a lot and you maybe go out for that brunch or you have drinks after work, if just like 1 week of the month you don't do any of that and you just like get up, go to work, come home, do all the stuff you keep meaning to do at home.
Yes, do your taxes.
All that stuff. And you just don't spend anything that week and then you divert that money right away. It's kind of like a concentrated period of sacrifice rather than having to like throughout the month go, oh, shall I spend this? Shall I not?
Yeah.
Or trying to be perfect and then not succeeding.
Yes. I like that you've said before having the identity around it. Like it's so much easier when you're like, I'm having a cheap week or I'm not spending money this week rather than making the decision every single time.
Yeah.
For the month of January, I went for like a 45-minute walk every single day. And I found that quite easy because once I decided, I just knew that's what I had to do. Yeah. And I wasn't having that mental battle of like, do I go for a walk? Do I not go? Can I go tomorrow? It's just like, I'm doing this. Yeah. And I was thinking that I used to find that so much easier when I was just known as the person who was frugal. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is just what I do. There's no decision. This is just what I'm doing.
Even it's like the first week of the month, like what's the instinctive thing everybody does on payday? Spends more money than normal.
Yes.
What if you just decide that the first week of the month is your frugal week so that you're actually a month ahead of yourself? And I think that kind of example of where I go, oh, be really frugal for 1 week and free up that money. I think the success of that really speaks to how in order your finances are already. Like that works for me because I pay myself my money each month and then I drip feed that to myself each week.
Yeah.
So I like every month I sort of, I pay my mortgage and I pay my rent and I pay my bills and everything. And then there's like my spending money, and then on a Monday morning, $100 hits my account for, a coffee or an Uber or a drink or whatever I want, sandwich maybe. Actually, some of it goes into savers, but say there's about $80 left after that. If I have that frugal week, what's freed up is immediate to me because that $80 comes in and I don't tap my card so it doesn't go anywhere and there's my surplus and I put it where I want it.
Yeah, investments. Then invest it. Don't spend it next week.
Yeah. So I think it's sort of like if that idea is appealing to you, you've got to step it back and go, hang on. Because if you're not managing your money, money's all over the place, having that frugal week might just be causing you punishment for no reason.
Yeah, especially if you just spend it and you don't put it towards something.
Or if it just bleeds out of if you've got to be chunking your money up so that you can go, I'll put that chunk over there. Perfect. And then what am I going to do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's really good as well for becoming more intentional with your spending and actually realizing what you're spending on. Because there's so many things that you don't quite click that you are spending money on, like the coffee here and the coffee there.
Yeah.
If you have a week where you're not doing that, you're like, oh, wow, I usually do this. What can I do instead?
Exactly. And yeah, loads of us have those little things that we do buy, or what do you go and grab as a little treat?
Oh my God, I've been buying too many books lately. Like every time I go to Big W, I've bought a book. And I don't need a book.
You had a new book.
Yes, but I don't need a new, like I read a lot, but I don't need a new book every time I go to Big W. But I'm like, oh, I've gone, it's my treat now. Yeah. But they add up really quickly because they're like $16, $18.
And they're like physical as well, so they take up space in your house.
Brandon's a bit annoyed. Keep saying like, do you want to give some books away?
No.
I want to look at them.
They're trophies.
Yes, yeah. All the things I've done and read. Yeah. And what if I want to show someone? Not that anyone even comes over.
These are the books I've read.
Yes. Look at me being all smart. No, then they're all just like murder novels. No.
Yes, so
not very wholesome.
When you've read so many that you actually game yourself out of like even enjoying the thrill because you've like worked it out.
Yeah. Or they're all the same.
Yeah.
I read a few books in a row and the grandma was the murderer in all of them. And I was like, nah, I've had enough. The 80-year-old grandma is not moving 10 dead bodies by herself. Not for me. But it wasn't the author's
book
fault.
We read on holiday?
Yes.
His and Hers? Oh, no, that was a different, that was awfully a different one.
Yeah. That wasn't the grandma one though.
No, did we read two that were the same then? Oh no, I was reading one that was the grandma, I think.
I think I read, did I read? I can't remember because I read a few and then there was like this other one that had kind of an abrupt ending, but it was the grandma again. I was like, I've had enough of these. Like I need a break from thrillers now. Like I can't do it.
Being trolled by murdering grandmas.
And like, I know what grandmas are like. Like when you think of a 70, 80-year-old, they're not swinging an axe at you.
No.
Like, it's not.
And also like the 40-year-old daughter can probably get away.
Yeah, just
What's
run.
she doing?
Yes. Or like someone died because an icicle hit them in the head at the end.
An icicle?
No. Yes, that was the ending. And I was like, nah. So you've made me read this whole book and an icicle happens to kill the right person at the right time.
Okay, niche.
I think you might have, I'll have to send it to you.
New Fear Unlocked. I'm not going to read it.
No. I need to find it because it was meant to be really good. But anyway, going back to this.
From icicles back to this.
Last decreasing expenses thing, Aldi Mobile is my hack of my lifetime. I feel like some people spend so much on their phone plans and it's so easy to get locked into these contracts for 2 or 3 years. But Aldi Mobile, it's like $35 a month. I get so much data. You can do data rollover. It's on the Telstra network. So it's a winner.
And they're those like admin things that you're like, you don't want to do it. Yeah. Or 12-month expiry SIMs. If you don't use a lot of data, I learned about this from Olivia, I think, her money's worth.
Yeah.
You can get like an Oz Post 12-month expiry SIM for like $120 or something.
Amazing.
And you just get like, you don't get all your data, but you like, you kind of just chew through it.
Yeah.
Which can be really good if you, like, I was looking at my life and I was like, well, I'm either at home or at work.
And you've got Wi-Fi everywhere.
And there's Wi-Fi.
There's even Wi-Fi like all the time these days at airports.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, public Wi-Fi, I'm less keen to use. But, and like this year I'm going to be out of the country for a few months. So it's like, I don't even need...
But if
you travel a lot or if you've got a big trip coming up, you're not,
or you are just at work and you don't really need to, and you're not like uploading videos all the time.
Yeah. And it's not as hard to switch over as it used to be. I feel like it used to be like, I won't have a number for a day.
Well, it's like too easy almost.
So
now
easy.
You just like text your number across.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yay, security.
Yeah.
Yes. Moving on to increasing our income. So with the expenses, as we've said, there's only so much that you can decrease your expenses.
Yeah.
But with your income, there's no actual ceiling to how much you can earn. What are some ways that you've increased your income?
I've always been a bit of a income increaser, even before.
An income increaser. Can we make that a thing? I'm an income increaser.
I'm an II. Even before I was good with money, actually, I was always quite good at making more of it. I think maybe that came with being, not having like a proper 9-to-5 job. I was always working in hospitality. So I'll be working a lot of hours, but with the way that hospital works, there's always more you can take on. Like if the restaurant's open from breakfast through to midnight,
you can just work the whole day.
You can just take on more hours. Or I was always covering people's shifts, so I was always quite good at that. But I would always sort of have these. I started doing this a lot when I first met my now husband, and we were in a long distance relationship between London and Melbourne.
Wow.
I would like to be able to like visit him and stuff, or have him come and visit me. I would have to have like a lot more disposable income for like those periods. But then the periods that we were apart, which were obviously way longer, like 3, 4, 5 months, I would like really knuckle down and be like, okay, we are working. And yeah, did I manage that money all that well? Not necessarily, but still I would like be looking around for like any like extra kind of things I could do. Like I used to deliver the yellow pages back in the day.
Nice. Yeah.
Or I did this like really good once. I did this field agent job.
Secret Shoppers?
No, it was for TripAdvisor or like an agency syndicate of TripAdvisor. And you were basically like, you'd never do this now because like AI and social media and stuff. This was like 2013, I guess. You would go around to like independent like businesses and verify their information that's on TripAdvisor. Like, are they even open?
That's so cool.
Is their phone number correct? That kind of thing. And like prove it with like taking a photo, and it was like geolocated where you had been, and you got paid like, I think it was £2 per site that you visited or something. It was so good. And like, again, it's a terrible tip because nobody can replicate that.
I used to do secret shopping, kind of similar because you'd only earn like $5 extra, but I did lots of them at Grilled.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
got the grilled burger and the chips for free.
Yes.
And you go home and like write your report afterwards, and maybe you'd make $5 on top of that. But it was such a cheap way to go eat out.
Yeah.
And I'd always take people and I'd be like, sorry, mine's free. You have to order something else. We're here for my secret shopper.
But I feel like that's another kind of way of flipping the increasing your income. Like even if you're not increasing your income, you might be, or maybe it technically goes under decreasing expenses, but how can you get experiences for free or cheaper to then free up? Again, you've got to be disciplined to free up the money that you spend. But eating out for free, saving yourself a meal at home. I think the best and most replicable one I've ever done would be pet sitting.
Yes.
Or house sitting under the decreasing expenses category.
Yeah.
Much bigger kind of way of going about it. But I started doing pet sitting, I think in 2018. Yeah, 2018 on Pawshake. And then I eventually came off of there.
Is it the website? Yeah.
Like, I think there's also Mad Paws. I think they're kind of the same. And then I eventually came off of there and got my own like public liability insurance, had my own kind of like proper little business. And the bit that people kind of always forget about when they're thinking about this is that if you can get into, there's initial work at the start to get chosen by people. And yes, you're going to have to do meet and greets, and maybe without experience doing it, you're going to have to like really, really schmooze to like get the work.
Yeah.
And, you know, price a bit low or whatever. But pet sitters are something that people use regularly.
Yes. Especially if you've got someone rich who goes away every few months.
I genuinely, if COVID hadn't happened, which literally completely bulldozed the entire business, like nobody could use me anyway. And just because of the time period and the circumstances, about 6 of my 8 like regular clients all moved like away.
Yeah. Okay.
So the entire business collapsed. So it was gone. At one point I was going to like grow it out and have like, people working for me and stuff. But anyway, we didn't get there. But yeah, at that point I did a lot of work. The first probably 2018, I was like laying the groundwork, people trusting me, that kind of thing. But then for like most of 2019, it was just a case of, will they go away every school holiday? Like school holidays would be very busy. I would just block out my availability. But yeah, there'd be periods of time where every long weekend, I'd be 3, 4, 5 cats I'd be visiting.
How much would you earn from that?
I think back then it was about, the standard going rate for a drop-in visit was about $20, $20 or $25.
And if they're close by, you've got a few you can go to, you can really stack them together.
Yeah, like you take them in your area. What I was planning to do at the start of 2020 was try and get them even more locally. Like I had them in my surrounding suburbs, but I was going to go and leaflet drop literally around like the streets around me.
So you just do like your loop and walk around.
So
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even need petrol, which again, I think would totally be a viable thing because people are overwhelmed by digital choice now.
Yes.
If I got a letter saying I service these 5 streets because I live on them, I'd be like, fucking sweet.
You can come
done.
say hi. Yeah.
So, I would have hosted like a morning tea or something and had people to a local cafe to like come and meet me and realize I'm not going to rob them.
Such a good idea. Like my parents have cats, and seeing how much they spend on like the cat boarding places.
Oh
like,
my God.
insane.
Yeah.
And,
and your cat doesn't like boarding.
No, they're locked in like this little cage.
Yeah.
And some of them have dogs there as well, which obviously isn't great either. And it's so hard to find a good spot to go. So it's such a good idea.
And often you have to like pay extra to get your cats like vaccinated to be around other cats. Like our cat doesn't go around any other cats. So he's not vaccinated to the point he can go into a boarding. So there's an extra cost for that. Like he's happier at home. It's also nice to have somebody checking on the house so the house isn't just sitting empty. Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, so I had like regular income coming in.
That's such a good idea.
From that. And yeah, it was sometimes a lot of labor, and I was also working in the office 5 days a week at this point.
Yeah.
Would be definitely easier now with working from home. But yeah, I might get up in the morning, go feed a cat, come back, go to work, feed a cat on the way home. But like.
And if you love cats as well.
Love cats. I understand the function of needing someone to check on your cat and whatever, and that like made me really care about it. But I'd be wandering around going to my day job, banking like $50 extra a day.
Yeah, that adds up so quickly.
A lot.
And it's good like having it be really flexible for what you need and you can take on things rather than getting a second job where you have to work those shifts. And the last thing you want to do after working is go and work another 5-hour shift. But checking in on a cat is like an easy thing to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can do it, on your schedule and you know what to take on and you can block time out when you don't do it and that kind of thing. Yeah. I have heard of a lot of people though, when we talk about second jobs, I'm of that same sweeping assumption of like, oh, I won't do that because I won't be able to commit the hours or whatever. I have heard of a lot of people getting like quite flexible, casual second jobs now where they do a couple of shifts every few weeks when someone's not there. I naively thought no one's ever going to go for that.
Yeah.
But if that's the kind of like easy, there's work with a side hustle that's a business. You've got to really set it up. If you want to do just like night shifts at the supermarket or something, send an email, put your hand up and see. They might want you to.
I miss having like an easy, like a mentally easy job like that where I could like all of my good ideas were kind of thought back when I had a job and I was sitting at work being really bored. I used to have to drive a lot for work and I think of so many cool things.
Yeah.
But now I don't have that space. Sometimes I think it would be great to just go and have one of those jobs again.
Oh yeah, like can I stock the shelves?
And get paid weekend and public holiday rates.
Yeah, see in Australia that's a major thing. Yeah.
Because I used to have 2 support worker jobs so I could kind of alternate where I worked and do overtime because I didn't quite like paying you overtime at one of them. So I'd work my 40 hours and then go work somewhere else. But one of them paid me public holiday rates and I worked like on Christmas one time, but I was working a 24-hour shift. So it was a lot of money. It was great. It was so exciting. But like jobs like that are so good.
Yeah. And again, like if you did that if you were like this winter, I'm going to make as much extra money as I can. 3 months, 3, 4, 5 months, however long you want to commit and just try and, this is a huge mistake I always made. Again, like I said, I earned a lot of extra money before I got good with money. So I wasn't compartmentalizing it properly. I would go, I'm cat sitting this week, so I've got more money to spend.
Yes,
I wasn't putting it away properly. Whereas obviously now I know what to do. I would have been like setting myself a challenge. I'm going to make as much money as I can. I'm going to divert it, put it into a separate pot as soon as it comes in. Yeah. And invest it straight away. I would and if you did that and say you get 5 or 10 grand invested and then you don't invest again for 2 years because you can't because of cost of living, it's in.
Compounds.
It's in.
It gives you such a good head start. I think it's that all or nothing thinking as well where it's like, oh no, if I take the second job, that'll be my life forever. But if you aren't getting used to that income and you are investing it, then you can just go back and quit that job.
Exactly. And I wish someone had said that to me. Are you putting that money in a separate account?
We should start holding our friends accountable.
It's actually your fault.
Yeah. If we all did it like together, being like, we're all working really hard for these 3 months. Yeah. Let's like make it a challenge and see what we can do. And you're like lots of people do surveys, doing your surveys, your like focus groups, your secret shopping, getting your second job. So many places are understaffed at the moment.
Exactly.
Sunday rates would be the dream again.
Oh my God. Yeah. 100%. Or even if you're going to like drive DoorDash or something. I did a interview recently with a couple that drive DoorDash together. Oh, so one of them drives, the other one goes in.
That actually, like I've gone down to get my food before and there's been 2 people in the car.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you'd have to worry about parking and getting tickets and, finding parking nearby and that whole stress.
Yeah.
It also means they're quicker so they can do more work. Look, it's got to be a couple really because I think...
Because you got to want to hang out with that person.
Well, yeah. And also if it was 2 people taking home like $15 an hour on average... It's a bit rough. Whereas when you can go to, maybe you're saving for a joint holiday or
and if you see
joint
like
house deposit.
The time you're spending together where you're sitting there chatting the whole time. Yeah. Like that's quite fun.
Well, that's what they say because they were like, you're not on your phone, aside from to get the jobs, you're not scrolling on your phone. And they were like, we do it like 9 hours a week.
Yeah. Because I do that, right? Like have a daily chat when we go for a walk. Yeah. But if you replace that with something like Uber Eats for an hour.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So many like cool things to think about.
And they're like, even though they're not perfect ethically, it's a bit of a Venn diagram because it's like, no, they're not the perfect jobs. And should there be more rights for the drivers and stuff like, yes. But we also have a lot of opportunity to make extra money without having to take on employment these days. Maybe you've got a skill. I don't have any like talents, but if you can like design and stuff, you can like sell your services on Fiverr and Upwork and stuff like that. Or if you have products like Etsy, there's a lot of ways that you can bring in extra money.
Yeah.
For various things. Yeah.
For a very specific goal. I think that's the key as well. Having a goal, putting the money towards it and not getting used to it.
Because I think, that economic pressure can make you be like, I need extra money. So then you go out and get extra money, but it's all very vague. Yeah. You need to know what you need, how you're going to make it, and then where you're going to put it. do you have literally a shortfall where your expenses currently don't cover your mortgage? You need to know what that is, go out and get it, and then put it where it needs to go.
And it helps with motivation as well. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to go drive Uber Eats if you don't know that you need to go do that. Like, oh, why would I bother doing that today? But
exactly.
If you're like, cool, I want to go to Europe, I want to buy a house, I want to pay off my mortgage. You've got that why there.
Yeah. And that works both ways with going out to earn extra money and also making the sacrifices. Like we had our meme at our event.
Yes, the meme was so good.
Of like future you looking back on yourself ordering Uber Eats again. When
your soggy Uber Eats.
Soggy Uber Eats that you didn't even like when you literally said a week ago that you wanted to take a year off and travel.
Yes, yeah. I think
like,
it's so important
kind of both.
Yeah, hold your friends accountable as well. Like share your goals with people and then be like, oh, it's interesting you said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And being open to getting that.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
accountability as well. That's why it's great when it's both ways because you can be like, you're doing this, I'm doing this, we're doing it together kind of thing.
Yeah, what do you actually want to do? I hear it all the time when people are like, I want to exercise more. Like, well, are you going for a run then? Or are we just sitting here again?
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
I like to think of that sort of period of focusing on your goals and like making it almost cool to make the sacrifices to get ahead kind of thing. I like to kind of think of that as raising your money standards rather than like making sacrifices and
because like
cutting
being
stuff out.
The frugal person that no one likes.
Yeah, like you can feel like boring and it can feel boring to you doing it and you can feel like you're the boring one, you're the frugal one that like no one's having any fun. Whereas if you're sort of like, actually, no, I've set a standard that soggy Uber Eats, that is not worth it for me. Like this is partly why I gave up deliveries this year because it's so expensive and it's not, I'm going to say 9 times out of 10 never worth it.
Yeah.
I once surveyed on my social media and it was like half the time people were like, nah, I regret it.
Yeah.
But again, people are self-reporting and they don't want to admit that they're never happy with it.
I think it was positive when you think about it in retrospect. Yeah. First, like when you're actually sitting there and you're like, oh, I waited an hour for this and it sucks.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was, it's so expensive now.
Yeah.
You used to be able to maybe get dinner for 2 people for $50.
No. Not if you don't have like the subscriptions either. Because then you're paying delivery and extra fees now.
Exactly. Oh my God, delivery and fees and service and tip. And you're like,
no. What? And a $30 meal.
Yeah, no. Anyway, so that's my example. But again, I mention this all the time. My husband has a money standard that he does not go out for all the work lunches that people have, doesn't buy his lunch every day. People find it weird. Like, oh, you're eating a packed lunch again. And he's like, yeah. I get lunch on Fridays sometimes.
Yes.
Other than that, I don't do it.
Yeah.
Because that's like a standard and it can feel a bit more, look, other people always might still judge you for it. It might be unusual to them, but I think for yourself to make it empowering rather than restrictive.
Yeah.
Kind of see that goal that you're working towards, whether it's investing or traveling or whatever, that is your standard. And then it's like, is this behavior in line with that standard or not?
Yeah. And like back to the walking thing too, like once you've set that standard, it's really easy to be like, this is what I do. This is part of my personality. This makes it easier. I'm not sitting there being like, oh, should I go for lunch again? Because everyone's going and I might miss out. Like it's easy for him to just be like, oh no, I don't do that. Yeah. Sorry, that's fine.
I don't do that. Yeah.
I'm spending my money elsewhere, going on cool holidays, whatever else it is instead.
Yeah. Paying the bills.
Yes.
No, that's where it's hard because it's like if you need the money, like it's harder to make it empowering. But
it still is empowering. Like you need the money because then you're not going into debt. Like you don't want to be someone who's in debt.
Exactly.
That's your standard.
And not accepting that sort of, dare I say it, like mediocrity of like money being hard. I think a lot of us like have this, I mean, I definitely grew up with this kind of view that money would be hard and then being able to say fuck it and buying something or ordering a takeaway, like that honestly being as good as it gets.
Yeah. The whole like I deserve this as well. Like I've worked so I deserve this because like all the marketing tells us we deserve Uber Eats and we deserve to buy a new dress and we deserve all this stuff when really you deserve to not be stressed and be managing your money well. Yeah.
I like to kind of look back. I spent a lot of time doing this actually when I think about all of these things that feel like they're a sacrifice when we don't have them, like takeaway, like buying stuff online, like Ubers, like going out for dinner. Literally 20 years ago, we didn't do that.
Yes.
It was wealthy behavior to go out for dinner.
Yeah. And Uber Eats as well. Like, no, sorry, you have to go get it yourself.
Yeah. Like, oh, you could walk to the shop, but you're getting it delivered. Like, okay.
Yeah. I lived overseas when I was younger and I was thinking about this recently as well. We didn't have shops really. Like you could do a grocery order once a month and they shipped it in. So you had to plan your groceries for the whole month. And maybe you could get fruit and veggies if you were lucky at the markets. There was no set time. They might not be there. If it rained too much, maybe there's no veggies for you. So you had to plan for the whole month. And then we would come back to Australia twice a year. Yeah. And in that time you would go to the dentist, you'd buy your clothes, you'd buy everything you needed. You get McDonald's. That was so exciting back then. But there was like nowhere to spend your money. Yeah. And that was just normal. You just had to prepare. But thinking about it now, you like look at your phone and you've spent $500.
Yeah.
Like there's convenient stuff everywhere. You don't need to plan it all. You can just go to the shops every day if you want. Yeah. even living at the Snow a few years ago, we lived like 20 minutes out of Jindabyne and we just lived at a hotel. So there was nowhere really to spend your money, and going to the shops was so exciting. But it was just like this normal thing. It was like, oh, we can't get Uber Eats. You can't really go anywhere. Everything's included anyway, so we're not spending money.
Yeah. And it's kind of, when you get into that environment, it's kind of jarring. Like when we went on that cruise, that Virgin cruise, like, there were shops, but like designer shops. So I was never going to shop there. But it was kind of weird not having to transact.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, my bank balance didn't move for a week.
Because everything's paid for.
When was the last time that happened?
Yeah.
But like it should happen more because my bills and everything's paid for. Like the stuff, everything that happens in my bank account day to day is kind of optional.
Yes.
Dare I say it?
Yeah,
like, okay, getting to work, not really. But yeah, a lot of the movement
is not needed.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's not that you have to cut it out, but like thinking about like where I grew up in the UK, they don't have Uber Eats or Uber.
Oh,
like, because it's too small.
Yeah. So many people still live like that.
Well, yeah. Of course they do. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I moved to the country and now I save so much money on takeaway. Yes. And I'm like, that's the hack.
Yes. Even like moving to the country is the hack though. Like side note, you can get paid more. You can get your expenses paid for and you don't spend money on anything because there's nothing there.
Yeah, legit.
And actually think about what you really need as well when you come back for those trips, being like, oh, what do I actually need to live for the next 6 months? I've got one suitcase. I can't spend that much money because like no space. You don't need a new outfit every week.
Yeah. It's so many of these like conveniences are just so baked in and they're such small amounts.
Yeah.
So we just think, oh, it won't make a difference.
But it adds up.
It really adds up.
That's our saving hack. Move to the country for 6 months. Reset your spending habits. Actually though, reset everything.
Well, it's like when I took my year off buying clothes. Like it really resets everything. Like the amount of times I thought to buy something.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And I had a wardrobe full of stuff.
Yeah. And then as soon as you make that the rule, it's like, oh, I don't do that anymore. It makes it slightly easier.
Yeah.
Well, it's still definitely hard to not buy clothes at all. But yeah, you're like, oh, this is what I'm doing. I've told everyone now. I'm being held accountable.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, wow, I can do it. Oh, wow, life's the same.
Yes.
Better even.
Yeah.
Got more money.
And not thinking all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So many benefits.
So many good tips there of things you can do to increase your income or decrease your expenses. I wonder how many people will start cat sitting businesses now. That's such a good idea. You mentioned your book. Where can people find more information about you and your book?
Yes, my book is called Good With Money. It's bright yellow. You won't miss it.
Yes.
You can find more about me on Instagram, the .broke generation. Listen to my podcast, the Broke Generation podcast. Website, thebrokegeneration.com. Just fang in the Broke Generation and you will find my face.
Find it. Yes. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you found this episode helpful, please rate us 5 stars, write a review, or share with a friend. If you're new to investing, make sure to listen to our first 10 episodes. Follow us at Get Rich Slow Club or Tash at Tash Invest or me at Ana Cristina.
This show was brought to you by Natasha Etchman, who is an authorized representative 1299881 of Guideway Financial Services, AFSL 420367, and Perla, who is an authorized representative 1281540 of Sanlam Private Wealth, AFSL 337927. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to investing. So make sure you check out our financial services guides and read the product disclosure statement and target market determination for any investments you're considering. See our show notes for more info.